Testing, testing, mic check. I'm here live with you friends on Facebook and everywhere else we're live. How are we doing? All right, folks. Welcome, welcome. So, my name is Luis, and let's just get right into it, okay? Thank you to those of us joining on Facebook, Twitch, and where else are we streaming? YouTube, of course, YouTube. So, hello and welcome to KUHS Colorado, the show where we keep you informed on all things Colorado, live from KUHS Radio. Today is Wednesday, March 25th. I am your host, Luis Live. Feel free to reach out to us through TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, and of course, give us a follow to stay in the loop on all Denver news, right? We're at KUHS Denver. We also share a ton of content from our other shows. We have Midday Fitness, we have Nikki Tastes Life, we have Success Without Borders. This is an incredible channel, so stay tuned, follow us, because we do a lot more than just the news, folks. Today's episode is brought to you by ADA Concrete. Concrete done right. You can call them for a free quote at 720-987. That is 720-987-8206. That is 720-987-8206. A little bit more about them here in just a few minutes. ADA is awesome, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what they do here, but first we have to catch up to the news. But before that, I want to say hello. Welcome back to our loyal listeners, our loyal friends that check in and keep tabs on me, right, and see what's going on in the city. I hope everybody's having a good week. You know, we've got a lot to cover in the show today. There's the heat, there is the data centers, there is ICE at the airport, possibly, right, and then of course there's crime in Denver. But what I really want you to take away from today's show is that this city is complicated and nuanced, and there's a lot going on, and my job is to try to put it in one 30-minute show for you to keep you informed, right? So let me just get right into it. So Denver heat wave nears record as high fire risk rises. Denver is seeing an unusually high temperature for late March, with high winds expected to reach around 90 degrees today. According to CBS Colorado and meteorologist Alex Lenhart, this could challenge or even set an all-time record high for this month. The city already broke a record just days ago, continuing the stretch of the above-average heat. But with that warmth comes increased risk. Low humidity and gusty winds are creating conditions where fires can start and spread quickly. Red flag warnings are in effect in parts of Colorado, with additional fire concerns expected into Thursday. A cold front is expected to arrive late Thursday, bringing in a slight chance of rain and cooler temperatures by Friday. As dry conditions continue across the state, officials are also looking ahead of what this could mean for the wildfire season. So dry winter raises concerns for upcoming fire season. Denver 7 is reporting that this past winter was one of the driest on record, with February ranking among the driest months since record keeping began. Colorado Parks and Wildfire says campers should expect fire restrictions to play a major role in spring and summer. Officials are urging people to check local fire rules before heading outdoors, as restrictions can vary by location and change quickly. They also remind campers, if fires are allowed, to fully extinguish them by drowning, stirring, and cooling all embers. And folks, I'm from the Western Slope, so this is a big deal out there. Fires is because it can literally wipe out a whole town. This is serious business. So please be responsible. Go enjoy the beautiful Colorado outdoors, but be sure to take extra steps and extra precaution, right? Let's keep our neighbors and ourselves safe, right? So, from weather impacts to travel conditions, right? So let's kind of come back to Denver. Spring break traffic is still moving through DIA. So, Denver Airport sees heavy spring break travel. No ICE deployment confirmed. More than 1.3 million passengers are expected to pass through Denver International Airport during the spring break travel window. According to USA Today Network and reporter Nate Trella, wait times at Denver Airport have remained relatively short compared to other major airports. Federal officials have sent immigration and customs enforcement agents to assist with security screening at some airports during the partial government shutdown, but there is no indication that Denver is included. Meanwhile, TSA screeners continue working without pay during the funding gap. Denver International Airport is accepting gift card donations to support these workers, right? So travelers can check real-time security wait times online through the airport's website. So if you can't donate, do what you can. Working at an airport, I can imagine it's already a stressful enough job, and imagine doing it for free. So sending love to our TSA workers here in Denver. We appreciate y'all. And if you can donate, do what you can, right? So, but in local development news though, Northern Colorado may see a new type of industry expansion. This is going to be a very polarizing story, so buckle in, okay? Weld County prepares for potential data center growth. The Denver Post reports that Weld County is working to update its land use rules as companies express interest in building data centers in the area. Officials say the industry could bring new property tax revenue and help diversify the local economy. but concerns remained about high energy demand and water usage, especially in a region already dealing with drought conditions. Proposed rules would require companies to prove they have adequate water and power supplies before building. A final vote on these regulations is expected in early April. We're going to follow that for you. These data centers, this is a big story all across the country right now, and it is especially relevant to Colorado, like we were talking about a second ago. It is dry here. We're not getting the weather that we need to support our local economy, much less additional water for these data centers, right? So we'll keep an eye on that story for you. But meanwhile, in Erie, so a separate development decision is drawing public attention and concern. Erie mineral rights talks sparked transparency concerns. Reporting from Salem Goodman indicates Erie officials are considering a deal involving the town's mineral rights, which could impact future oil and gas development under the community. Discussions have taken place largely in executive sessions with limited public details about the potential agreement with Civitas Resources. Some residents say they were unaware of the talks until recently and are raising concerns about the transparency and possible conflicts of interest. The decision could affect public health, property values, and how much control the town has over future drilling activity. No final decision has been announced, and I want to say thank you to our fitness coach. He does way more than fitness. Baltazar, that he sent this story over to me, and I'm going to keep following it because this is a huge story. As a person that lives in your city, you should have control over what happens in it, right? You are a voter. So, but back in Denver, right? So, police have made an arrest in a case involving historic stolen property. The story is kind of weird, but it's really interesting, so I'm going to share it with you. Suspect arrested in theft of historic church statues. Denver police have arrested a 29-year-old man accused of stealing statues from a Holy Ghost Catholic church earlier this month. CBS Colorado reports the statues, which date back to nearly a century, were removed by using tools and later recovered by investigators. However, officials say the statues were damaged and replacement costs could reach thousands of dollars. Church leaders say that historical and sentimental value far outweighs the monetary worth. Now, this story is really, it's kind of a left field one. Who steals statues, right? But I just want to kind of take a second, right, and think about that, right? I had a friend earlier this week, a real close friend. He had his car broken into, and of course he called me real upset because it's very violating, right? It's your personal property. You don't know what they did in there, right? What they took, right? But he said something that really struck a chord with me, and he said something along the lines of, it's unfortunate that it happened to me, but I really hope the person that broke into my car finds the resource and the help they need, and that really struck a chord with me because, I care deeply about homeless people and how that impacts the city and the communities, right? And let me just say this, if you are in a position where you're stealing, it's not out of my understanding, right? It's not out of being this malicious person or XYZ. People that commit crimes are a lot of the times are desperate, and I think the best thing we can do is have empathy while still, maintaining our boundaries and respect for ourselves, right? So I just want to say, because this story resonated with me a lot because I'm the same age as the guy that stole these statues, right? And to think that I'm very lucky, to be able to have a job and have a nice car and be able to drive and do what I need to do to make money. And I don't know. What I'm saying is my condolences goes out to the church, but I really hope this young person finds a better path moving forward, and that's all we can do here is we can hope for the best. So, but let me just kind of keep moving. So, and in another public safety news, investigations are underway into two separate incidents in the Denver metro area. So, a garage collapse and during range crash, I'm so sorry. Garage collapsed and driving range crash under investigation. A parking garage collapsed in southeast Denver and crushed two vehicles and forced a closure of nearby office buildings. No injuries were reported, but the cause remains under investigation and there is no timeline for when the building will reopen. In a separate incident, a woman was hospitalized after driving over a 30-foot wall at a driving range in Centennial. Authorities say the vehicle flipped into the ravine below. The driver is expected to survive, and the cause of the crash is still under review. So sending our thoughts over that way, because that's a really scary fall. 30 feet, that's insane. I'm really glad the driver's okay. And same thing with I read one of these articles from 9 News, I believe, that talked to one of the folks who had their car crushed under the parking garage, and it's just a bummer, and I was talking to a colleague this morning about how does this stuff even happen, and realistically it was probably a failed inspection. I don't know, I'm not the city guy that's in charge of this, I'm not a lawyer, right, but that's probably what it was, if we're being honest, but I'm glad nobody was hurt. But interesting stories this week. Denver's had some crazy traffic stories this past year, but I'll keep you updated, okay, I promise. So this one is a little sad, okay? Outdoor retailer closes after 26 years in Denver. Wilderness Exchange has announced it will close its downtown Denver store after 26 years in business. The shop, located near Confluence Park, has been a staple for the local outdoor community. In a statement, the company thanked customers and reflected on its role in helping people reconnect with the outdoors. The business will continue operating online, but they will be closing the physical location. And if you are from Colorado, you know that outdoors is our thing, right? we love hiking, skiing, biking, anything to do with getting to see this beautiful state. So it's a bummer that this location is closing, but it is online. It's not going away, folks. It is just moving. But with that being said, we'll be right back. But with your local stories. But first, here's a quick reminder: if you live in Colorado, you already know that your property goes through a lot. Between snow, heat, heavy use, and constant temperature changes, concrete takes a year-round beating in the state, right? And the truth is, when it's done wrong, you don't just notice it, you pay for it later, right? That's why homeowners and businesses across the state trust ADA Concrete. For residential projects, they specialize in driveways that boost curb appeal and property value, garage floors built to handle weight and Colorado freeze-thaw cycles, and sidewalks that are clean, safe, and built to last. Clean lines, solid pours, done right the first time. And for commercial clients, ADA Concrete is built to handle bigger demands, from foundations you can build on with confidence to durable concrete slabs, asphalt services, and snow removal that keeps your business running safely through the winter. No shortcuts, no rush jobs, just reliable work, fair pricing, and a team that stands behind every project. Because concrete isn't just about today, it's about the next 10, 20, even 30 years. If you're planning a project, don't wait until small cracks turn into expensive problems. Call 720-987-8206. That is 720-987-8206. ADA Concrete, strong foundations, solid results, serving all of Colorado. Oh, it's so fun, right? It's so fun to do those ad reads. I guess we're gonna take just a quick second before I get back into the show. We're right on time today, folks. We're gonna get through everything. Good. We got some good stuff next coming up. But with that being said, you're listening to KUHS Colorado, your source for local news, community stories, and real updates from across the state. From what's happening in local government to events, opportunities, and resources you can actually use. This is where Colorado stays connected. Whether you're tuning in at home, at work, or on the go, we're here to keep you informed and in the loop. But before we get back into the show, I want to talk about that for just a second. I had a conversation earlier with my friend this week. Her name is Molly. She's incredible. I can't even describe her. We don't have time on air for me to talk about how incredible she is. But basically, she asked me, what is your show about? And I haven't had, and I know what my show's about, right? Because I make it, right? But I haven't actually had somebody ask me directly, right? And I guess let me tell you right now, this show is about keeping my neighbors informed. And that's the way I see it. I think when it comes to news, you kind of have to be everything everywhere all at once. You know, I have people in my life that I disagree with politically or XYZ, but I still want them to know what's going on in their neighborhoods, you know, and I would want the same for myself. So when it comes to what this show is about, it is really just about keeping your neighbors informed. It starts with you, right? And I do lean more towards caring about the community and resources because I think that's something that everyone could benefit from, right? But yeah, with that being said, let's get back into the show. So, Colorado lawmakers push for small business funding release. So this comes directly from the state of Colorado. So Colorado's federal delegation is urging action after a delay in funding for a key small business program. According to a letter led by U.S. Senator Michael Bennet and reported through his office, the Colorado Small Business Development Center has not yet received more than $2.25 million in expected 2026 funding. The program serves all 64 counties and provides training, counseling, and resources to small businesses across the state. Lawmakers say the deal is already forcing service reductions and could lead to staff layoffs or even center closures, especially in rural communities. Small businesses make up about 90% of all businesses in Colorado, and officials warn that funding gap could impact more than 700,000 businesses and over 1 million workers. Wow, this is a really big story. So we're going to keep following that too, right? Okay, so staying at the Capitol though, several bills and appointments are also moving forward that could impact workers, taxpayers, and retirees across the state. Headline. So this is the headline, right? State lawmakers advance labor, retirement, and ballot transparency bills. Colorado lawmakers are advancing a series of bills focused on workers' rights, retirement security, and voter information. The Worker Protection Act has passed a Senate committee. The bill would remove a second election requirement for workers trying to form a union, a step supporters say would make the process more accessible. Another bill sponsored by Senator Chris Colker would expand retirement options for public employees, including more flexibility for those with career gaps and additional savings options. And a separate measure would also require more information on ballots, including disclosures about how proposed initiatives could impact state spending and services. All three bills are moving through the legislative process and have not yet become law, but I will keep you updated on what's happening. So, in addition to legislation, there's also a new appointant connected to property tax oversight. Senator Lisa Frizzle, appointed to the State Board of Equalization. State Representative Lisa Frizzle has been appointed to the Colorado State Board of Equalization. According to a release from Senate Republicans, the board reviews property tax assessment appeals and workers to ensure fair and consistent property valuations across counties. The appointment comes as many Coloradan homeowners continue to face rising property taxes. Frizzle brings more than 2 decades of experience in appraisal and assessment and will begin her role immediately. So we'll keep an eye on that. As a homeowner, I don't own it yet, right? But anyone that buys a house, keep an eye on this story. This impacts all of us. So, meanwhile, at the state level, though, agricultural and rural economics are also in focus this week. Governor Polis signed a new agricultural support laws. Governor Jared Polis has marked Colorado's Agriculture Day by signing 2 new bills aimed at supporting farmers and ranchers. According to the governor's office, one law helps conserve at-risk farmland and expands access to loans for new and beginning agricultural producers. The second law allows more flexibility in using livestock funds to prepare and respond to disease threats. State officials say agriculture remains a key part of Colorado's economy and emphasizes the importance of supporting local food systems and rural communities. But in local government news, counties across the Denver metro area are also investigating community services and infrastructure. Douglas County expands housing support for the IDD community. Douglas County commissioners have approved a new funding that expands housing for adults with intellectual disabilities and intellectual and developmental disabilities. The county is investing $2.5 million into supportive housing grant program that will add new independent living units. Officials say this builds on existing projects and will bring the total number of supported units to more than 60. The announcement comes as county also recognizes Intellectual and Developmental Disability Awareness Month. I think this is a wonderful program, folks, and I saw this video the other day about this young woman with Down syndrome, and her argument was basically like, people, if she'll go to a bar and she asks for a margarita, and because the bartender sees that she has Down syndrome, right, XYZ, they don't give her a margarita. They give her an orange juice or whatever. And I thought that was just a great little example of, what it means to support people in our communities with disabilities, either developmental or intellectual, right? We have to give them resources to grow and achieve through themselves while still being able to support them when they need it, right? And so I love this program. I'm gonna keep you updated on this one. I'd much rather my tax money go to programs like this than to billionaires, right? But in Adams County, a new education investment is aimed at the region's youngest learners. New Head Start Center coming to Commerce City. Adams County has secured a new location in Head Start Early Education Center in Commerce City. The facility is expected to open for the 2026-2027 school year and will serve young children with 2 classrooms and expanded play areas. The county is investing about $2 million into upgrades, while the building itself is being provided at no cost through a partnership with a private developer. Officials say the project is designed to expand access to early childhood education and support working families. This is a really interesting story, but I want to find out more about this private developer who's just giving the city of Denver buildings. What are they getting out of it? That's interesting, isn't it? But we'll come back to that. So, in labor and workforce news, a new report is highlighting wage enforcement efforts in Denver. Denver recovers millions in wage theft cases. A new report from the Denver Auditor's Office shows that the city recovered more than $2.3 million in wages for workers in 2025. Denver labor handled hundreds of cases and protected more than 7,000 workers, both record highs. The report also highlights major investigations, including a case involving more than $14 million in restitution and penalties. Officials say the efforts are part of an ongoing work to ensure workers are paid fairly and businesses follow labor laws. At the same time, a separate audit is raising concerns about oversight in the city public safety program. Audit calls for a stronger oversight and crime prevention commission. A new audit from the Denver City Auditor finds that the city commission aimed at reducing crime needs stronger oversight and documentation. The report states that the data from vendors was not consistently collected or verified, and some contracts lacked clear requirements. It also found gaps in record keeping, conflict of interest disclosures, and invoice monitoring. The Department of Public Safety has agreed that the recommendations and says it will work to improve accountability. But before we go, a quick bit of information for Denver residents. So officials warn of the next scam targeting Denver residents. The Denver Clerk and Recorder is warning residents about a text scam claiming to be from a state of Colorado traffic division. Officials say this agency does not exist and the messages are aimed to steal personal information and money. or money, right? The clerk's office says it will never require payment by text. Residents are urged not to click links, not to respond, and to report suspicious messages. I received one of these too, actually, which is interesting, and then I saw this story in the news. We're going to post the image here on our socials here in a little bit so you can check it out. So just keep an eye out, folks. Remember, the city of Denver will never ask you for money over text. And when it comes to like any kind of government stuff, call them. Call them. I know that it's a pain to call the DMV, it's a pain to call, but I promise you it is so much better to call them and waste 5 minutes of your day than to get scammed out of XYZ amount of money, right? But we'll keep an eye out on that, see if there's any developments. It seems like there's always a new scam that's floating around Denver, and I think with all this AI stuff happening, it's only going to get worse. So we will work hard to keep you informed on what those are, though. So, but I guess this has been KUHS Colorado, though. But if you found this show helpful, make sure to follow us, share, and stay connected for more local news stories, and resources that matter to our community, right? And thank you again to our sponsor, 88 Concrete, serving all of Colorado with work that's built to last. If you've got a project coming up, give them a call at 720-987-8206. That is 720-987-8206. I know I gas 88 Concrete a lot, but it's because they do great work. They really do, folks. But with that being said, I kind of want to wrap up today's show by telling you a little bit about what's coming up at KUHS. So, I know that if you're listening to this show, clearly you know about me. You should also check out Success Without Borders. That is another episode that's actually been running longer than mine. It's hosted by the incredible America. She basically, it's a show about radical honesty and radical truth, right? And this last episode with our fitness coach Baltazar was incredible. You know, they really talked about the nitty gritty, and I think that's kind of what we're missing, right? These days when it comes to content and what we're watching. And I just want to say, go check out that show. In addition to that, here in about 30 minutes, you're going to see me work out with my colleagues and the incredible Baltazar from Relentless Spirit Fitness. And that show is really fun too. It's called Midday Fitness. It's at 1 p.m. Come check us out. And he breaks down how to exercise without having to be in a gym, without having to pay for equipment, and to just use your body, right? And it's just been a really wonderful show. I already feel better. It's been like, this is our 3rd week. The first week, it kicked my butt. I'm going to be honest with you. I was sore for days. 2nd week, I felt great, and I'm really looking forward to today, which is exciting, right? And I'm not a fitness guy. I'm not in the gym all the time. Like, I'm definitely out of my element. But Baltazar makes it feel really comfortable and safe, and that's awesome, and I love that. So go check out that show. In addition to that, we are premiering, this is the last one, I promise. In addition to that, we are premiering another show tonight. It's called Sip the Agave Legacy. And we're working with this incredible couple from MTX, More Than Experiences. It's this incredible company that basically, they are experts in agave, right? They're experts in the history and the culture, and that's what they're going to talk about on the show, and I'm super excited. And if you're from Colorado, you know that so much of our history is just blended with Chicano and Mexican heritage, right? And because like the state, it's named Colorado, you know, it's literally a Spanish word, right? But come check out that show. That's going to air at 5. I think it's just going to air at 5 every Wednesday. That's going to be a really, really fun one. I know I'm not going to be on it, but I will definitely be watching, okay? And you should too. But with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into KUHS Colorado. I had a great time keeping you informed. Go ahead and give us a like back or follow us. If not, I will see you on Friday, friend, okay? Thank you so much. This has been KUHS Colorado.